Hi everyone. I think we have few participants online, so I thought of starting the presentation now. So today we are going to discuss about exam question keywords. So if you're taking exam with Pearson Edexcel examination board or else Cambridge examination board, both examination boards are using keywords when they are assessing your knowledge in various subjects. Especially I'll be speaking about commerce stream subjects, business studies or economics, and even in accounting. You get keywords in all papers. So we know Edexcel curriculum mostly have unit outline, where Cambridge curriculum we have paper 1, paper 2 likewise. So in your both papers you receive keywords in your questions. So it's important to understand as a student what are these keywords and how you're going to compose your answer to match with keywords. Now, very common mistake students are making when answering questions, they do not pay attention for keywords. So it's important to understand what are these keywords and how do we respond to these keywords when we find them in questions. So I prepared few slides to share with you all to discuss about main keywords we'll be using. So we will be using few keywords in exam questions, and most of these keywords are trying to assess your higher order thinking skills. Now you all know from your grade 1 to grade 10 or by grade 13, when you have taken so many exams, these questions are trying to attempt different skills. Some of these skills are very basic level skills, like your basic understanding about a concept. So it's just like someone asks from you, what is meant by a business? What do you understand by a business? So at that time, you can just give characteristics of a business, or what do you understand by the concept a business. So it's just assessing your basic understanding skills. But when you get promoted to higher grades like grade 10 or 11, now you're in grade 12 or 13, so your advanced level classes, there we are assessing your skills about higher order thinking, whether you are able to think critically, whether you have ability to build up logical arguments when you're writing answers, we are assessing. So here we do not assess your basic understanding skills. We are going to assess skills like analytical skills, your application skills, and even your evaluation skills. So when it comes to understanding, then application and evaluation skills, students should develop critical thinking skills when they want to attempt these questions. So I want to focus on this slide more importantly. So this is the hierarchy we are following when assessing your skills in the examination. So the most basic level is knowledge, next understanding, next we have the hierarchy of application, then we have analysis and evaluation. Now there's a small mistake in words. So if you look at knowledge, so knowledge means whether you have the basic knowledge about a term or business or economic term, that is a knowledge question. Now understanding is when you have a depth understanding about that term or the concept. It can be even a formula. You will be able to interpret data, you will be able to explain us using chain reasoning. Let's think about in economics, someone can ask from you what is demand and supply. So these are very important two keywords we use in economics, demand and supply. So if you know the amount of goods and services people are willing to buy at a given price within a given period of time, that shows your knowledge about demand. But what is your knowledge about understanding? Understanding is when you get a question like this, using your knowledge of demand, explain the relationship between demand and price. Now, for you to give us explanation about the relationship between price and demand, you're supposed to know what is the relationship. So we all know the very common relationship we study in economics, price and quantity demanded has a negative relationship. So these variables are taking two different directions. When price increases, people demand less goods. In other hand, when prices are decreasing, people want to buy more goods. So now when you're explaining this, you can even use a graph to demonstrate your understanding. Even you can elaborate with an example. If price of rice increasing in the market, people will demand less quantities of rice. Or else you can even pick a very basic level example. When price of a good increases, demand will fall, or when the price of a good decreases, demand will increase. So that is difference between knowledge and understanding. So if you want to demonstrate your knowledge skills in the exam, you can just remember the definitions and go. But if you want to demonstrate your understanding skills, you need to read a little bit more about those terms. You should know certain formulas, certain diagrams related to those terms. Then you will be able to demonstrate your understanding skills. Now the next important skill we are looking at in exam, application skills. Now in both Cambridge and Edexcel exam boards, they have case studies in business studies and even accounting, mostly in economics. So we know all units have case studies. Case studies are like real world scenarios. So we bring real world scenarios to the paper and we ask you to apply your knowledge you have gathered to these real world scenarios. So that is application. Now let's say the exam paper might contain a case study about renewable energy production in Netherlands. So they might give some graphs, they might give paragraphs about how they produce renewable energy in Netherlands. So if you know the term renewable energy, if you know the definition, so your knowledge skill has been fulfilled. And looking at this explanation or the paragraphs or graphs or the diagrams given by the paper, if you be able to understand, okay, in Netherlands this is the situation of renewable energy. There are different types of renewable energy sources we use, using solar power, wind power, or else even hydropower we use. So probably the diagrams might contain information about different sources. Probably they can show you a graph about over the years how the energy production from renewable resources have been increased. So you will be able to use your understanding skills and understand how the renewable energy works in Netherlands. But when it comes to exam questions, they might ask questions like, okay, using terms from the paragraph, explain what is meant by renewable energy. So at that time, you will be able to write the definition of renewable energy. So renewable energy is like energy which can be used over and over. So if they have given examples of solar power or wind power or even hydropower, you will be able to pick them and give them as examples because you have the understanding. Now how are you going to combine the application? You will be telling in your answer, in the explanation, you will be able to elaborate, okay, solar power we can regenerate. So therefore, it's not one-time use. Such resources are known to be renewable resources. So in application part, you have to justify or you have to give a brief explanation why you say solar power is renewable energy. So that is your application skills. In analysis questions, we are trying to assess your analytical skills. So when you are analyzing something, most common approach is you look at pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. So you can get a question like this. Analyze the advantages of renewable energy to the economy of Netherlands. So when they say analyze the advantages, what are the good things these advantages will bring? What are the bad things these advantages will bring? Now let's pick an example like this. In Netherlands, renewable energy is becoming very popular, so the government is subsidizing. So there are more businesses entering renewable energy industry, but the traditional energy companies must be suffering, because when more people switching to renewable energy sources and when they are becoming popular, automatically demand for conventional or traditional energy sources will decline. So these businesses cannot close down. Why? There are employees working in them. So in your analysis part, you can tell renewable energy companies are becoming popular in the economy. As a result, people might enjoy lower prices, but same time there is a drawback. When renewable energy companies are becoming popular, demand for non-renewable energy companies will decline and their sales might fall. That will create negative impact for its employees. So if in case they shut down operations, these people will lose their jobs. So that is a negative impact from popularity of renewable energy in the country. So in analysis, we want you to analyze what are the positive impacts and what are the negative impact of certain incidents or concepts and case studies. When it comes to evaluation, we want you to think logically. So you need to exercise your critical thinking capabilities. Alright, let's say the same question, we'll develop it to evaluation. So let's assume examination paper says evaluate the impact of renewable energy to the economy of Netherlands. So when you go to evaluation, you can demonstrate your knowledge about renewable energy. You can demonstrate your understanding about renewable energy. You can use your application knowledge, taking some information from the case study. You can elaborate examples. Not only that, you can give chain reasons for your explanation. So chain reasons are like, when you give an advantage, this advantage can bring consequences. Some consequences are positive, some consequences are negative. And when you take disadvantages, they are also like that. They have consequences, some are positive, some are negative. So if you have negative consequences, you can propose in your evaluation how to overcome them. So that is your critical thinking abilities. You are including as evaluation in your answer. So now it's important to understand how you are going to identify what are evaluation, analysis and application questions and what are basic knowledge and understanding questions. So in your examination papers, if you find keywords like define, draw, calculate, explain, these keywords are about knowledge, understanding and application. Now if you get a question to define, if you get a question to draw a diagram, so you need to demonstrate knowledge and also understand. And if you are asked to do a calculation, so you should know the formula. In some examination boards, they give you pre-prescribed formula, so you have to remember it and apply data given in the examination paper and do the calculation. Even explaining questions, your understanding about a phrase or a concept or a theory, you have to write as an explanation. But when it goes to application, analysis and evaluation skills, keywords are like this: discuss, examine, analyze. So now you need to understand where you can find these discuss, examine and analyze questions. These questions are mostly in your essay questions. Now we all know we have short answer questions like 2 marks, 4 marks or 6 marks. Our essay questions mostly starting with 6 marks, 8 marks, 10 marks, 12 marks, and when you go to economics and business studies, you get even 20 marks questions. So most of your Essay questions will have keywords like discuss, examine and analyze. So to answer these discuss, examine and analyze questions, you need to have application skills, analysis skills and evaluation skills. But to answer define, draw, calculate or explain questions, you don't need to have higher order thinking capabilities. With your basic knowledge and understanding skills, you can go ahead with answering these define, draw, calculate and explain questions. Right. Now, next what I'm going to do, I actually picked up some examples for these keywords, and let's discuss about how we use these keywords in exam questions and how students should write the answers. Right. I first got a question that is about define. So you can get a question like define renewable and non-renewable resources, and marks allocated for this question 4 marks. So now I have given a sample answer written by a student. So you can see this student has written renewable resources are those that are not scarce and can be reused. For example, 63% of Canada's electricity is produced through hydropower. Now when you read this answer, you can see he has demonstrated his knowledge skills. He is telling us what is renewable resource that are not scarce. So that statement says he knows what is renewable resources. If you look at his example, 63% of Canadian electricity is produced through hydropower. This shows his application skills. He has picked up this example from the case study given in the exam paper. So for knowledge you get 1 mark. For application you get another 1 mark. So for the first part of his answer, he has already scored 2 marks. Not only that, he has given more examples. As it is water already present in large water bodies, if we can use again and again. So you can see the definition says renewable resources are those that are not scarce. So these are not limited. He has explained this fact. Look at that. Water already present in large water bodies, it can be used again and again. So we have water sources like rivers, streams. So using them we can regenerate electricity. So he has well demonstrated knowledge and application skills in first part of the question. Now if you look at the latter part, he has mentioned about non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those that cannot be reused and therefore are scarce on the planet. So these are the resources are limited in supply, cannot be reused, we cannot use them over and over. So 15% of Canadian electricity also coming from coal, which is non-renewable as it cannot be used once it is used. So you can see with his example he gives the explanation or his understanding. If you use coal as a non-renewable resource, we cannot use it over and over. So that defines what is a non-renewable resource. So this is a well-structured answer which has scored 4 marks in the exam. This is an actual answer written by a student. So you can understand even defining questions requires you to write more specific answers. Now this is the difference between local curriculum and international curriculum. In local curriculum you mostly receive answers, questions where you can write very broad answers, where they're expecting you to write essay type answers. But in short answer questions you get in this international curriculum, they allocate 2 marks or 4 marks. For these 2 marks or 4 marks, you do not need to write very lengthy paragraphs. You have to give specific information and you should write a direct answer. So it's important to understand what is meant by define and what is the depth of the answer the examiner is expecting from you. So if it is 4 marks question, this is a very common structure they use in questions: knowledge 2 marks and application 2 marks. So as a student, you should be able to write the answer demonstrating your knowledge about renewable and non-renewable resources, also applying this theory into the case study they have given and giving some explanation about them. So that is the first type of keyword I wanted to discuss, that we call define. So define is a very basic question type, because anyone can answer these define questions, because it just assesses your knowledge and little understanding about the concept or the theory they are testing about. So if you are good with remembering definitions, you can score define marks easily. Next, calculation. Now we all know subjects like business studies or economics mostly have calculations, because nearly 30% of the syllabus is assessing your quantitative skills, your numeric skills. So some are related to accounting lessons, some are related to business concepts, and some are related to economic concepts. So if you look at a question like this: in September 2017, Centrica increased the price of gas and electricity by 12.5%. Before the price rise, Centrica had 12,800,000 customers, but this fell by 800,000 after the price increase. So what is this small paragraph? This is a case study. This is a small case study you should use when you are answering for your question. Ceteris paribus, when all factors remain constant. So that means we are going to consider only about following things. What are those? Calculate the price elasticity of demand for gas and electricity from Centrica. Show your workings. So here we are going to use price elasticity of demand equation. So these equations are taught to students in class. So these are pre-prescribed definitions and formulas. So if you know the PED formula, you should start your answer with the formula. So this student has written PED equals percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So if you write this in sentence form, it's correct, but also you have learned for PED, you have a mathematical formula where delta Q divided by delta P multiplied by P1 divided by Q1. So that is alternative formula we get from this. So using this original formula, you can do the calculation. So you can see the student has applied information, the data given in the question here. So PED 800,000 is the difference. The original demand is 12,800,000 multiplied by 100. Here percentage change in price, he hasn't done the calculation because the information is directly given here. It has said Centrica increased the price of gas and electricity by 12.5%. So you don't need to do that math because they have done it for you. So he has straight away applied 12.5. He has simplified 800,000 minus 12,800,000. So he has received minus 6.25. As a result, he has got an answer of 0.5. So you can see, to score your knowledge marks, you need to know the equation, the formula. To receive your application marks, you need to know how you should get this data from the case study and apply them to hear. So remember, knowledge marks you can easily score for calculation questions by remembering formulas. So you know what are the common formulas, what are the lessons we learn formulas for economics and business. So try to make a list of them and try to remember them. So if you know the formula, when you go to exam, you only have to apply data given in the case study. Remember, always you have to show your workings. Now, a very common mistake students do, they just apply this equation and there are no workings, only the final answer. So if you do not show the math, how you found this answer, workings are not there, you lose marks. So remember, mostly application 2 marks will be given if you have done your workings here and got the correct answer. Because sometimes students do the math correctly, when it comes to the final answer they make silly mistakes. But if you have demonstrated your calculation workings, you still can score 1 mark. So this is how a calculation question would look like in your exam paper, and those are very easy questions for students to score marks, and they will not have like very lengthy calculations or complicated calculations. So this question was given 4 marks. I think if students can prepare themselves really well, remembering these formulas and doing some practice questions, they can easily score these marks in exam. Right. Next, I'm going to discuss about higher order thinking question, because define and calculation are assessing your basic knowledge, understanding and application skills. But a question like analysis question will assess your higher order thinking capabilities, which means whether you are able to think critically, whether you are able to do a chain reasoning about a product or a theory or a concept or even a phrase. So these analyze questions, they give in different ways. Now this is also examination question I have extracted from a past paper. You can see here they have mentioned with reference to figure 2 and extract A. So we all know when they give case studies for essay questions, mostly they give it in paragraph format and they give graphs and tables, those things. So definitely this question should have included some tables which indicate some numeric values for you to do some calculation your own and think about how you can apply that to the question. So you have to refer to the figures and the extract, that is mostly the paragraph. Analyze one reason why the price of lamp increased during 2017. Illustrate your answer with a supply and demand diagram. So the question itself has a requirement now. What is the requirement? You're supposed to draw a diagram. Now in this, a very common mistake students take. They think knowledge marks are given for something like defining price, something like defining supply or defining demand. For those things, we do not award marks allocated for knowledge. We award knowledge marks for the graph. So graphs also very important if you are a student taking business and special economics, because we have to draw, we learn actually so many graphs, and in exam also you nearly draw 5 to 10 graphs and sometimes you interpret them, so altogether 5 to 10. So if you look at this graph, you can see this student has nicely labeled both axes x and y, and this student has done a supply curve. So supply curve is correct, positive relationship. He has demonstrated original demand curve. Demand has a downward sloping curve, correct. So if you label x and y axis and if you draw supply curve correctly and demand curve correctly, you can easily score your knowledge marks. Because this question is about analyze one reason why the price of lamp increased during 2017. So you are going to tell why the prices of lamp has increased during 2017. So for that they are asking you to draw a diagram. Definitely they are asking from you demand and supply diagram. So this demand and supply diagram, if you know how to draw it, you will get marks for that. And this student has shifted the demand curve to the right side. So as a result, there is a new equilibrium here and the prices have gone up. Quantities also have increased. He has indicated with arrows. I would say this is a well constructed graph because labeling he has done properly and all information he has given in this graph accurately. So that is important. So when you draw a graph, especially for economics or business studies subject in exam, make sure label your x and y axis and you can draw initial demand and supply diagram accurately. You can still score marks. And I want to show something important looking at this student's work. You can see he has mentioned price and quantity. Now from the question itself, even though we didn't get a chance to read the case study, you can get an idea what this case study is about. It's actually about lamp market. So you can customize your y-axis and x-axis according to the information. So this can be price of lamp. Quantity can be kilograms of lamp or any other measurements they have used. So customizing your x and y axis is important because you are drawing this demand and supply diagram for the lamp market, because this question is about lamp market, right? So if you done a complete, I would say accurate graph, you can score 2 knowledge marks. Now I'm not very sure whether you can read the answers written by this student. Let me zoom it a little bit so you can see. He has given explanation. The price of lamp increased due to the shift in the demand curve to the right. One reason could be increase in income. So he has identified from the case study income has increased. That is the reason he is proposing the reason for increased demand. Now a very common mistake students make. They draw this graph and after that they start explaining this graph for us. Like they mention demand curve is shifting to the right and original equilibrium is here, original quantity is Q1, then it's shifting to Q2, original price is P1, then it is shifting to P2. All that student has done. So even though you explain it again, you won't get any marks because we have already awarded marks for that. So as a student, do not waste your time to explain this graph which you have done properly again using paragraphs. That is waste of time and it's duplication of your work. So avoid doing that. You can save that time to write answers for essay questions. Now if you look at this student's approach, how he has started the answer, he says the price has increased because the demand curve has shifted to the right, and you have to analyze one reason for this. He has picked the reason from the case study because income of people increased. So when the income of people increase, we all know income is a determinant of demand. So when income of people is increasing, naturally, assuming all other factors remain constant which are influencing demand, demand is going to increase. So when the demand is increasing, we know demand curve can shift to the right. So he has demonstrated fairly well. Here the demand curve has shifted. Rising global incomes led to 28% increase in demand for Australian meat in 2017, since it was a global rise in income. So you can see he has gathered this information from the case study. This is how you can gather application marks. You are linking your answer with the information in the case study. Income has increased. he is telling us how much was the increase in income, that is 28%. He has gathered that information from where? The case study. So doing that, he can get application mark. Now another way how you can get one application mark, shifting this demand curve to the right side, because we all know demand has increased because of the rise in income. So then you are applying your theoretical knowledge. Okay, when income increases, what is going to happen to the demand? For that, you get one application mark, shifting your demand curve from left to right. So by linking this answer with information in the case study and shifting your demand curve to the right, you are able to score your 2 application marks. So again, he has supported his answer since it was a global rise in income, demand increase in the USA as well, which again gives a reason why the price increased for meat. In 2016, the price for meat lamb was $5 per kilogram and rose to $5.5 in July 2017. Now this information shows us why demand has increased. So he is supporting his statement with information extracted from the case study. That is also important. Now when you take the reason, now he has analyzed the reason, positive side of the reason. Why this happened? This happened because around the world prices have increased. I did not actually copy pasted the entire answer in this because I wanted to add some key points into this. Now when you're writing analysis, you need to tell if it increased, whether it's a small increment or whether it's barely a small increment or significant increment. You can comment on that. So you can see income increase in certain countries he has mentioned with percentages. Also increase in demand, like 28% increase in demand in Australian meat. So that is a big amount. If something increased by 27% means that's a big increment compared to a number like 5% or 3%. So that is why demand curve has shifted. So when you are providing analysis about this reason, we want you to develop a chain reason. So chain reason means reason after reason you are providing us. So student has provided one reason, income has increased. Then he has supported that with facts from the Australian meat market and USA meat market. So that is a chain reasoning he has given for analysis. For that he get 1 mark. In this question he hasn't mentioned about percentage change in demand is significant, like 28%. So there's another part of this answer which I did not include. But this answer was sufficient enough to score 5 marks in exam and even 6 marks. Because he has done the graph well, he has identified the reason and he has applied information from the case study. Not only that, the reason he identified, he has analyzed. He has given us not only one reason, he has gathered information from the case study. It's a global situation. So because of that, he has given more facts about it. So he is eligible for receiving 5 to 6 marks for this answer. I wanted to share examiner's report for this. This is from Edexcel website. So if you want, you can have a look at examination materials after the exam. They publish as examiner report, so you all can have access for them as students. Right, this response was given 6 marks. They have justified why they have given 6 marks. The diagram drawn achieves a knowledge mark for showing original supply and demand. That's your knowledge. The diagram correctly shows demand shifting to the right, achieve the next mark. The final mark on the diagram is awarded for the new equilibrium price, which is clearly shown to be higher price quantity through use of arrows and the use of subscript. So that is why I mentioned what you draw in the graph, you're not supposed to explain again. It's duplicating and you won't get extra marks because we have already awarded marks. The candidate makes reference to the increase in income for the second knowledge mark. Then they make reference to the product being more affordable, which is an analysis why demand rise for second analysis mark. The final mark is for application in noting the prices rise from 5 to 5.50. So when we say prices increased, I mentioned he has used some numbers to support his answers. So he has mentioned price has increased from $5 to 5.50. So that is an increase in prices. So this is how you can construct a very good answer, a quality answer, without writing paragraphs and paragraphs. A very common mistake students make, they do not consider about the quantity they write. Sometimes they write in margins also. Remember always, the things you write in examination paper margins will not be scanned, so will not get any marks. So when you take your exam paper, they usually give you space to write your answers. So you can construct a very good answer within a short paragraph, but including all the facts. Still you can score marks. Right, so we discussed about define, we discussed about calculation, and we discussed about analyze. These are the very common questions you will find in your question papers. I am expecting to have another online discussion to discuss about evaluation, examine, and discuss questions. So you can see they have discussion questions, examine questions, and we did not discuss about explain questions. So I thought you all found it very helpful for your understanding if you are a student taking either Dexcel or Cambridge O levels or A levels. So I thank everyone coming online and joining with me. Even you're not joining with us today, I'll be uploading this in YouTube, so you'll be able to have a look at it and get some knowledge and improve your examination writing skills. So before winding up this, I want to share with you all. So I have this YouTube channel where I'll be uploading videos about economics and business studies, but mostly about economics. So those are free resources anybody can access. During this pandemic, your best tool for education should be online tools which are freely available. So subscribe to my channel. Economics, actually main subject is economics, but I'll be adding videos about business studies as well. So subscribe to my channel Econ with Mekhala and learn more about economics. We'll meet another day with a similar discussion like this, and we'll discuss about discussion, examine, and explain question keywords. So thank you everyone for joining with me, and have a pleasant evening. We'll meet up another day with a similar discussion like this.